guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Darian. Today I'm going to be doing a tutorial that's very blue themed because I'm very inspired by my nail color. This is a gel polish, but a very similar shade is Matanzas by Kale Polish. This one just has more of a purple shift. It has more purple glitter in it than this shade does, but they're pretty similar. So, I think for the most part I'm going to be using the Juvia's Place, the Masquerade palette. I think a mixture of this shade here, Dahlia, and this shade, Chi, are going to give me kind of the shade that I'm looking for. But I do want some more like orange and yellow tones, so I'm also going to dip into the Alamar Cosmetics palette and use these two matte shades kind of across here. To prime my eyes, I'm going to go in with my Too Faced Born This Way concealer. I've already done my brows, but I'm just going to kind of place this on my eyelid and then blend it out with a little concealer brush. This one's from Real Techniques. And I'm going to make sure and kind of do this inner corner right here so that when I'm blending out my concealer later on, I don't have to get up into that inner corner and risk messing up my eye makeup. I'm doing my eyes first because there could be fallout with those like shimmery blue shades, and I don't want to risk messing up my base makeup. I'm also kind of dragging this out on this outer corner just because I don't know exactly what my eye makeup is going to turn out like, so I may end up kind of winging it out a little bit. Okay. To start the eyes, I'm going to go in with Cocoa Taxi, this yellow shade right here, and a JH31 brush from Morphe. And I'm going to kind of pack this on my eyes. I did not set my concealer, so my shades should show up a little bit more pigmented. You can set it if you'd like. I've just been kind of playing with seeing if I prefer one way or the other. I'm kind of pressing my, like, the side of my brush in and getting the pigment more on the side and then pressing it on using the side of my brush since I'm not, like, blending it right now. And I think that helps lay down the color a little bit better. And then once I have that color where I want, then I'll go in and kind of blend it. I'm just going to kind of build up the pigment until it's the depth that I want it to be. And I'm taking it all kind of through my crease and like all the way into the inner corner. I'm not really worried about it being messy on this outer corner because we'll clean that up with concealer before we do our base makeup. I do spend a lot of time kind of building and blending my transition shade, probably more than anything else, because it's kind of the base for the rest of the look. It's what kind of pulls everything else together and kind of gives you something to blend into and all of that. So I think it is better if you spend a little bit more time kind of building up and blending that shade, and then everything else is a little bit easier to kind of put on top of it. With the same brush, I'm going to go in with this more orange shade here. And I'm going to concentrate this one more on the outer corner and then bring it up into the crease. I'm not going to take this one all the way into my inner corner because I want more depth on the outer half of my eye. And then this one I'm also just keeping a little bit lower so that you still see that yellow right above the orange. And I'm going to take a little bit of Cocoa Taxi and just kind of go over that shade to make sure the two blend together. I'm going to go ahead and kind of clean up my outer corner. You could wait to do this, but I think it's going to be a little bit easier to kind of see what I want to end up with if I already do that. I'm also just kind of making sure those are even. Okay, with a smaller blending brush, this one has shorter bristles and it's a little bit stiffer, so it's going to pack color on a little bit more. I'm going to go in with a JH34 and the shade Cafito here. And And I'm going to kind of pack this on the outer corner to add a little bit more depth. First, I'm kind of like pressing this shade on, and then when I have less pigment on my brush and I've kind of placed it where I want, then I'll go in and just blend with like tiny circular motions. Then going back in with that original brush and just kind of blending those two together. Okay, now with a flat shader brush, this one's the JH41. I'm going to go in with the shade Chi from the Masquerade palette, this deeper blue. I am going to wet the brush using my Morphe Continuous Setting Mist just to prevent fallout, and it'll apply a little bit more pigmented doing that. And then over top of that, I'm going to go in with the shade Dahlia right here, just to kind of get more of like the lighter blue tones in here. The shade Chi is also a little bit more purpley than what I want, so I think mixing these two is going to work well. Now that that shade is laid down, I'm going to go in with a little tiny pencil brush and the shade Chi. I know it's a little bit shimmery, but I'm going to kind of use it like a matte to kind of blend the edge of this. I'm actually going to go with a different brush. I'm going to go in with this pencil brush. It's a little fluffier. I'm going to go back in with the shade Cafecito, that chocolate brown shade. And then with my original blending brush, I'm going to blend kind of the top edge of where Cafecito is. Okay, and then I'm going to go back in with the shade Dahlia, the lighter blue, and just kind of build that back up where we lost some of the pigment from blending. Okay, and then again, I'm going to go in with my makeup wipe and kind of clean up this outer edge. Okay, for foundation, I'm going to go in with my Makeup Revolution foundation stick. I'm just going to kind of swipe this on. And then I'm going to go in with a makeup brush. This is just the Jaclyn Hill version of the Morphe M439, so I'm just going to kind of go in with this to blend out my foundation. Generally with stick foundations, I will go in with a brush first and then smooth over it and build up coverage with a sponge. I'm going to attempt to not mess up my eyebrows or the outer corner of my makeup. And then I'm just going to add a little bit more on my cheeks and nose where I get the most redness. Just because of my rosacea, I usually add more foundation in those areas. Sometimes I won't go in with an extra layer of foundation, I'll just add concealer, but it varies. For concealer, I'm going to go back in with my Too Faced Born This Way. This is my favorite concealer at the moment. I just need them to get a better shade range because this shade is definitely too yellow for me, but it's such a good concealer. And then to balance out the yellow in that, I'm going to go in with my Colourpop No Filter Concealer in the shade Fair 2. It's a little bit more of a pink undertone, so it mixes pretty well with this one, and it's a little bit brighter. With having like blue, or if you have like purple tones on your eyes, you also really want to make sure and go in with a very full coverage concealer, because those tones are going to emphasize any like dark circles that you have under your eyes. For me, I have a lot of redness around my eyes, so with like a deeper eye look, it tends to emphasize that. And then with this brush, the JH08, I'm going to go in with my Milk Makeup Baked Bronzer. I'm just going to kind of take a little bit of it on my brush and apply it using that. Sometimes if I just swipe this straight on my face, I can go a little bit too hard with it and put on a little much. So if you have that problem with cream products, using like a little brush can help with that, just because you're not swiping it on your face and getting stuck with whatever is there. And then with my sponge, I'm just going to kind of go over that to make sure it's not too harsh and that it's blended and all of that. Okay, I'm going to blend out the creasing under my eyes and then set my face. This is the JH07 from Morphe. It's a good size to kind of set under your eyes with, but you can also just use your sponge or anything you have. And then this is the powder brush, the JH01. To add a little bit more of a bronze glow, I'm going to go in with my BECCA Sunlit Bronzer in Capri Coast and my JH02. In another brush, I said that this was the same as the M527, but I think that the bristles on this are a little bit different. I'm not sure. So they have the same shape, but I'm not sure if they're the exact same or not. But they're the same shape, so if you're going for that, then you can achieve that with either one. With an eye look like this, I feel like a lot of bronzer helps to kind of balance it out. So I'm adding quite a bit, but you can kind of do what suits you. For blush, I'm going to go in with my Laura Gellar Baked Blush in Blush-N-Brighten. I got this in this month's BoxyCharm and I like it. I think it's a good blush. I'm going in with the JH06. And then because I always apply too much blush with that blush, I'm going to go in with my pressed powder from Colourpop and just kind of veil over that. Veiling is when you go over products with your like powder, just to kind of tone them down, blend them a little bit better, that kind of thing. For highlight, I'm going to go in with my Pixi Glowy Gossamer Duo in Subtle Sunrise and go in with the lighter shade in this with my JH09. It does emphasize texture a bit though, so if that's something you're worried about, this may not be the right one for you. I feel like I need just a little bit of glitter to this look because the nail polish has more of like a glitter shift to it. So I'm going to go in with my Colourpop Super Shock Shadow in Fringe. And what I'm going to do is, this is a pretty light shade, but it has kind of a glitter to it. If you just press it on, it doesn't deposit a lot of the pigment, but you have that like glitter flip to it. So that's kind of what I'm going to do. I'm going to just kind of press this on so that I get more of that glitter, but not really a lot of the base pigment. So you can kind of see the difference, how this eye is a little bit brighter than this eye. And then I'm going to go back in with my under eye setting brush and just kind of brush away any of the glitter that fell off. That is one thing you can do with a lot of the Super Shock glitter shades. I think it's the Ultra Glitter formula. You can do that with a lot of them. You can just kind of deposit the glitter without using a lot of the base pigment if you don't swipe it on your eyes. If you just kind of tap it on and don't put on too much of the product, you can get that glitter effect without using whatever the base pigment is. So that's kind of a good way to get a little bit of multi-use out of those if you are interested. I'm going to go ahead and highlight my inner corner. I'm going to use, if I can get it open, I'm going to use Giza from the Masquerade palette to highlight. Okay, under my eyes, I'm going to go back in with my little tiny blending brush. This is the same one I was just using, it's just the regular regular Morphe version. It's the M507 palette. And I'm going to go back in with the shade Cocoa Taxi. And then with that same brush, I'm going to go in with Tropico, the more orangey shade. And then with like a little flat definer brush, this one's from Alamar Cosmetics. I'm going to go back in with these two blue shades, and I'm just going to kind of mix them on my brush and just kind of dip into each of them. And then I'm going to take those two blue shades and kind of press them on under my eyes. And then I'm going to go in with a black gel eyeliner. This one's from Pretty Vulgar and a different flat definer brush. I'm going to kind of press this onto my waterline. Okay, eyes are about done. I'm going to go in with my Morphe setting spray now. And then I'm going to kind of tap over that setting spray just to kind of really melt everything together. Okay, so now is where I kind of like step back, assess, make sure that my base makeup looks okay, see if I need more bronzer, more blush, anything like that. I do think I'm going to add just a tiny bit more bronzer just on kind of the perimeters of my face. Okay, I'm gonna go apply mascara and lashes off of camera. I'm gonna use the Wonder Beauty Unleashed mascara from my BoxyCharm. Okay, I'm back. Lashes are on. I used the House of Lashes in Iconic. This is definitely one of those looks where it kind of pulls everything together whenever you put lashes on. To finish up, I'm gonna line my lips with my Colourpop pencil in BFF2. And then I'm going to use my Urban Decay lipstick in Safe Word. It's one of their Comfort Matte shades. Okay, so this is the finished eye look. I think I got the color pretty close to the blue that my nails are. So I was kind of inspired by this shade, and I think this look definitely kind of captures that. Give this video a thumbs up if you like the makeup look. Be sure and subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you in Thursday's video. Bye guys.